So in December of 1987, a very good friend of mine was the fifth person hired here at High Sand Incorporated. And I was a high school friend, and I was working and going to college. So he says, "Hey, you want a job at this new company in Findlay?" I'm like, "Sure, and tell me a little bit about it." So I think he was the fifth person hired, like I said. And at the time, you had to do panel interviews at High Sand because I think it had something to do with the free trade zone or whatever was going on here in tall timber. So a lot of the people, I was the 29th person hired. And at the time, you had to go to the job services and do a panel interview. So it just so happened that the plant manager at the time was an ITT gentleman. His name was Harold Blanchard. And Harold told my friend, he says, "Hey, just have him come in for an interview." It was Friday, December 4th. And so I came in a suit jacket and a tie, and it was snowing. And what happened was there were some leaky fuel lines at Honda America, and they were suiting people up in Carhartts to go to American Honda to check for fuel lines. And he walked into the quality lab at the time, which is Dion Yarborough's office, and he said, "I don't have time to mess around with you today, just start on Monday." That was basically my interview. So on Friday, December 4th, and that was kind of a brief part of it, but the interview was, "Mike says you're a good guy." But so that was my interview for High Sand Incorporated, and I started on Monday, December 7th. So it was quite the, I think I was the first person that did not have to do the panel interview. I was the 29th person hired. So I'll stick with that one. People were really mad when I came in the break room and they wanted to know how my panel interview went. I said I didn't have one. So I started as a production worker. I started actually on a heat shrink machine. Those who've been around a while understand we had Sumi tube, and we would put it over the brake lines and the fuel lines. And then I started working with John Schlump, who right now is our longest tenured associate. So John, all 6'4" of him with his big long arms, showed me how to run this bending machine. And of course, being a little smaller, and it was harder for me, but I started off on a heat shrink machine and then on a manual bending machine. So that was my first production job. I went to quality as an auditor, progressed to a team leader, and then a production supervisor. When it was the joint venture with High Sand, ITT, Higbee, and Sanoh, Japan, it was quite different because components would come in from both Sanoh and from ITT, and it was a different atmosphere then when it was a joint venture. And when Sanoh bought out, the environment changed. We had the Sanoh staff became more involved, the leadership part of it, but it was fun times, and it was a joint venture, but it really became a good business when Sanoh took over. So there was a little bit of a difference between the two. Absolutely. In fact, we had a very good representation. It seemed like the Higbee side, the ITT side, had the main management staff, but again, the Japanese staff at the time, there's a lot of great Japanese staff members that to this day have gotten some correspondence with them, but it was more of just an advisor role, but then it became, when Sanoh, my feeling is they took on more of a leadership role in the company. I probably better part of 30 years in certain supervisory positions. I've had a couple different positions. We had different names at the time. Of course, it was shift supervisor, general supervisor. So probably better part of 30 years I've had an opportunity to have supervisory responsibilities. I had a chance at the 25-year reunion anniversary that we did in the parking lot, and it was a last minute thing, and I think John Wells and Cindy Broadwater approached me and said, "Hey, would you be willing to say a few words?" And it was kind of off the cuff, and what stuck with me was about relationships that had been built for me personally, but also as people on the floor. And I was trying to reflect a little bit, and since that, it's been what, 10, 12 years now, it's still about relationships to me. There's still people that I'm in contact with from 20 years ago. In fact, people who are mentors to me, I still am in touch with and hope to see them on my last day here. It's all about, I think, relationships, and I think that Sanoh America, what keeps people here, we have a lot of long tenured people, a lot of 30-year, 35-year, coming up on 37-year people. I think the way we treat people here, we're flexible, we want to work with people, and I think that's been a key part for me that's led for me to stay, but also others that I know and still will stay in contact with when I leave. We've had situations come up over those years where when you get to know people, you can tell, you spend more time with people at work than you do sometimes with your family, depending on what goes on. And we've had issues where people have had relatives that pass. We've had phone calls that people get here at work. I think it's being able to know people on a personal level as well as a professional work level that helps offset maybe difficult times. So I've had situations where we've had things within the facility, we've had the police called, we've had family members have issues outside of here. So just being able to learn from, again, a lot of years, but also just relate to people and be understanding of their personal situation and how it affects them here. The technical part, so the zinc plating lines we had PVDF coating, so Sanoh Global has always been PVDF, that's the paint coatings that we use, and our competitors use PVF. We then went to Hyplocoat and PA coating, and those, that was really big with the different coatings that we put on. We've done a lot of things internally to make some engineering developments. The evolution of the tubing, the base tube, how we coat it, and also how we bend and manufacture the tubing now that we have different facilities. So the development of Sanoh and having satellite facilities, that's been I've got to see it from the beginning, and that's really cool to be able to go to the different facilities and see how that's evolved too. Most rewarding for me, I'll hit it again, is relationships with people. I've talked to probably 10 to 20 people in the last month. I've gotten really a lot of nice notes from some of the Japanese staff. I think I've been involved with some very positive things we've done in the building, and I'll take that away. But again, just the people and the interaction with people, I can't stress enough, and I think that's helps people be successful in work and life and just developing them types of relationships. So I've had the opportunity over the years to work with great people, our hourly staff. We promoted from within. In fact, myself, I've referred to John Schlump earlier. A lot of people are long-term people, came in, been promoted from within, and they're still here. My advice would be to continue to work hard, but also show an interest in making improvements. I think we've always here in the Findlay plant done a great job of promoting from within, giving people opportunities, and those who you're committed and work hard, I think there's opportunities for people to advance, and I've had many team leaders who have been salaried supervisors, and that I enjoy that, seeing people that can progress and be promoted. That makes me pretty happy and proud of the people that I've worked with. Boy, lucky enough that I was able to be here. Remember, boy, that's a tough one. I feel there's been good times and bad times, right? There's good times with the relationships I talked about. There's challenging times. I'd like to be remembered as somebody who was committed to High Sand, Sanoh America, and just somebody who cared. I cared about the people. I cared about the company, of course, and I want to be remembered as somebody who again, just committed. I put a lot of time here, and it's been a great ride. It's been people have been treated very, very well here. I think it was time for me to move on, something different. My wife and I, we spent a lot of time at the lake. Our kids are grown, so we're hoping to spend more time together there. Not a big travel guy, but we'll spend time with the kids. And I'm just going to relax and spend time with family, and hopefully that is at the lake and just having more family time.